How can I help myself to get to more of the receptive mode? Even though I think it, I know it, I feel it.
Isn't the first thing knowing whether you're there or not?
Yeah.
We talked about this already too, but we really want to amplify it here. It's a wonderful, wonderful question. How can I more deliberately and effectively get into the receptive mode? Here's a very powerful answer. Sometimes you can't, so just give it a break. Sometimes something's happened and you just feel negative emotion, and the harder you try, the worse it gets. The harder you try to solve a problem, the bigger the problem gets. So understanding how you feel is an important component of this. But what we've noticed as we've visited with so many of you since the beginning of your existence is this: it always gets better if you'll just give it a minute. So when you decide to stop the struggle and stop trying so hard to prove your worthiness and stop trying so hard to get it right and start trusting that it's on its way to being the way you want it to be, if you could just settle down a little bit and allow it to be. It's the trying too hard that is tripping you up, and most of that is because you care too much about how you appear to the others around you. You care more about what others think about how you're doing than you do about how you feel in the moment. And so when you let your relationship between your inner being and you be the thing that matters the most, then it's just easier and easier. The reason that we teach meditation, and this is really for you, this statement, it's easier to teach almost everyone to have no thought than to clean up a negative thought, because you're invested in the negative thought. Law of attraction already brought you a lot of ammunition. Law of attraction has already shored up your negative belief that's working against you, you see. And so if you can just quiet your mind, your vibration will rise, and then you can come at it again. So if you feel like you're in a struggle, take a nap. If you feel like you're in a struggle, take a walk. Do something to break the cycle of attraction if you can. And meditation is the most powerful tool that we know of for that. You're doing extremely well. You're consciously aware of how things are unfolding. We know that you're in a vibrational place where you're consciously aware of how you feel and witnessing what's coming. But you are like so many others. You are doing more of your taking score when you're not where you want to be than when you are where you want to be. And so we just want to make this strong statement to you. In every waking moment, you are either under the influence of your inner being, which means you feel great, some version of great. You feel frisky or lighthearted or silly or clear-minded or interested in something. It feels really good to be tuned into your inner being, and there are lots of emotions that indicate it, but they all feel really good. When you're under the influence of your inner being, that's how you always feel. Or you could be under the influence of something else. And so if you'll just stop and ask yourself, when a strong emotion is within you, especially if it's a strong negative emotion, what influence am I under? And you acknowledge, oh, wait a minute. Don't beat up on yourself, because it's just fine. Just acknowledge that when you're under the influence of something other than your inner being, you don't feel so good. And these are the most powerful words that we will ever speak to anyone. These are the words that we want you to take away from this gathering, if you feel like it. And always understand that this is the essence of everything that we teach here. Your singular work is to calibrate yourself to the frequency of your source. That's your singular work. Calibrate yourself to the frequency of your source. Is there another way of saying that, Abraham? Yeah. Your singular work is to get happy. Your singular work is to feel good, because all the other stuff, you've done it without even needing to know that you were doing it. You were born into contrast. Contrast gave you data and information. You filled your vortex full of all kinds of things that you want. Step 1 and step 2 have already happened. Your singular work is to calibrate yourself to the frequency of your source, which means your singular work is to feel as good as you can feel whenever you're focused upon it. But the question that you're asking is, but when I don't feel good, how do I go about that calibration? And we say, that's really what you've got to figure out how to do, because when you know you're out of sorts and you're determined that you're going to get lined up, usually you make it worse because you're trying too hard. And why? Because you're aware that you're not where you want to be and trying to push where you don't want to be away from you. Can you feel it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just take it easier. Be nicer to yourself. Do more things that are fun. Get out ahead of it. Meditate every morning. Segment in 10 before you walk into a segment. Acknowledge the positive aspects of your life. Count your blessings. Make lists of positive aspects. Look for reasons to feel good. And if you start early enough in the day before reasons that you don't feel good have shown themselves to you, then you're off on the right foot, so to speak. And then just stay after that until before you know it, you're just feeling good mostly. Not always. Not ever always. You're human, here to sift and sort and launch new rockets of desire. Just stop beating up on yourself when you're in step 1. Let it be a step 5 moment. Oh, contrast. One day Esther was dusting an etagere with all the beautiful things that she and Jerry had collected from all around the world, and the shelf came off. She didn't even understand how the thing was constructed, and the top shelf banged into the second and the third, and everything on the shelf was broken. Jerry's in another room and he can hear it, and he says, stand still, because he knows Esther has no shoes on. So she stands, and there are shards of glass all over, some of them sticking in the floor, broken everything from the shelf. And Jerry said, oh good, something to buy. That's all gone. Now what? Now we need stuff to fill that shelf back up. And boy, isn't that a fun thing to do, you see. And so it doesn't matter where you are. The universe is rich with all kinds of things to satisfy and surprise and delight you. Yes?
Yes.